So we're also told what kinds of fields we can go into. For instance, what does a computer innovator look like? We talked about computer nerds, right? Some of the people, right? Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. Who was the first computer programmer? 1843, English. Does anyone know? Does anyone know who it is? Somebody said it. That's right, Ada Lovelace. She was the child of Lord Byron, a poet. And her mother said, my daughter is not going to be a romantic poet like her father. She is only going to get tutored in mathematics. And Ada Lovelace was a brilliant mathematician who was one of the first people who noticed that these machines could be programmed, and her notes were used later, 100 years later, in developing computers. Who wrote one of the first computer languages, which was COBOL? Anyone know? Yeah, that's a good guess, a woman. Grace Hopper. In 1945, the men didn't think computer software design was an important job, so of course it fell to the women. The men were the engineers. They wanted to build the big machines. The women, they could write those programs, the software, because that's women's work. And so that's what happened. The first computer software designers, as you can see, were women. But in the tech industry today, where are the women? They're suing. I know in California right now there's a lawsuit. Google has one of the highest rates of female tech staff, and that rate is 17%. That's not very good. Because somewhere along the way, it was thought that computer nerds were boys, teenage boys, like to play on the, video games. What about the scientists that invented technology that led to present-day Bluetooth and Wi-Fi? Anyone know? Scientific and technological genius Hedy Lamarr. She was a famous and gorgeous, as you can see, movie star. And in 1942, she figured out how to remotely control torpedoes. In the 1950s, her technology and science was used to develop secure military communications. And currently, her designs and her inventions are used for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. She wasn't honored until 1997 when she was in her 80s, 3 years before she died. And what did she say when they gave her the award? Well, it's about time. And whose research led to the discovery of DNA? We all know about DNA. Who was that? Watson and Crick, right? Well, Rosalind Franklin. She developed X-ray technology, and she was first able to detect DNA structure. And a colleague of hers who didn't like her gave it to Watson and Crick, and they published and put her in a little footnote. And it wasn't until 40 years later that Watson gave her credit.